What do you think? Is it possible to teach toddlers and babies to self-regulate and calm down? In this video, we're going to be talking about how to teach toddlers to calm down before they can even talk. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, and calmness, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about young children getting calm. In this video, we're going to be talking about my granddaughter, Clara, and how she started learning to be calm when she was really young. And then we're going to go through the process that her mom and dad went through to teach her self-regulation and where she's at today. So I've got to tell you about Clara. Clara is very strong-willed and she's very smart, which means that she can manipulate with the best of them if she wants to. She is currently a toddler. She's 3 years old. She'll be 4 years old in a few months. So she's getting up there. But she started learning how to self-regulate when she was 4 months old. Now, if you think that that is impossible, I actually am with you. I used to think that was impossible. I didn't really start teaching my children self-regulation stuff until they were 2. But my daughter decided she was going to go above and beyond. She said, well, if you can teach these things when they're up to 2 and at that age, then why can't I start teaching them beforehand? Just because they can't speak in complete sentences doesn't mean that they can't learn the skills. And I thought, she's absolutely right. We teach them so many things. They understand. Cognitively, they know what the parents are saying long before they can actually verbalize and form the words and say things back. And so my daughter just went for it. She decided to teach Clara how to calm down. When Clara was 16 months old, I took Clara to a big party with some extended family. Now, when Clara was being taken out of the car by my husband, we noticed that she had a big blowout, like a diaper blowout, and it was actually getting all over the place and all over my husband. And we were not with her parents. We did not have any baby supplies per se. I think we had like 1 or 2 diapers and some wipes, luckily, but we didn't have like a changing table or nowhere to put her, and we were at somebody else's house that she had never been at before. So this was a new experience for her. So we brought her into the house. She was crying because she just woke up from a nap and she was messy all over the place. And we laid her down on the bathroom floor because it's the only place that you could clean up after, right? If you end up making a mess. And she was crying, and I looked down at her and I said, Clara, it's okay. Grandma's here. It's gonna be okay. And little Clara looked up at me with her big blue eyes and she said, okay. And then she just started taking deep breaths, 5 big deep breaths. Now, deep breathing is the #1 thing that you can do to calm yourself down. How would Clara know that? Well, because she was taught to take deep breaths and to regulate herself before she could even use words. She got herself completely calm in that moment, 16 months on a cold bathroom floor in a home that she did not know, with a situation that normally Grandma and Grandpa don't deal with. And she was okay. And she didn't cry anymore after that, because she believed me that she was going to be okay, and then she took the deep breaths, which chemically told her brain that she was going to be okay. So this is what my daughter did. She and her husband decided that they could speak with Clara through breathing. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but babies, they will do little breath rhythms, like when they get excited, or maybe sometimes they'll be and they'll do stuff like that. And so they started mimicking her breathing rhythms when she was little, and breathing fast or breathing slow. And then she would do it back to them. And this was when she was very young. And starting when she was 4 months old, they would take her hand and they would say to her when she was upset, Clara, we need to take a deep breath. Now, a couple of times before this worked, they would say, Clara, deep breath. And they blew in her face. Now, what does a baby do if you blow in their face? They suddenly take a breath because they don't know what just happened. It startles them, right? And then they would look at her hand and say, Clara, deep breath. Now, Clara learned what that word meant, deep breath, and she knew what it felt like too. And so then she started trying to simulate it. Well, by the time she was 16 months old, she could say okay, and she knew what a deep breath was, and she knew when to use it. Now, you might say to yourself, well, they were starting pretty early, weren't they? Yes, they were, and it took tons of repetition and tons of practice to get her at that place when she was just a year old. But it absolutely was worth it. Little Clara now, she has a twin brother and sister, and she talks to them about calmness, and she tells them to take deep breaths. She knows exactly what they need, and she's only 3 years old. She's now setting the example for them. I need to be completely real though, full disclosure. Clara's a little bit bossy because she's a toddler. She talks back sometimes. Mom and Dad are working through these things with Clara because she is very strong-willed. But they're consistent in their teaching. They're teaching her all of the 4 basic skills of self-government. She already knows how to regulate herself, and she already knows all 4 of those 4 basic skills. She can disagree appropriately about anything if she wants to. So does she still have a long way to go in her self-government journey? Absolutely. But they've started her out right, and she is such a happy, pleasant little child. And she can communicate with any adult and take instruction and correction from anyone too. So let's talk about what we need to realize from this story of little Clara. And I hope that you've already learned a lot of things as I just related the story to you. But that is that toddlers learn a lot from routine. They learn a lot from tone, the way things feel and sound. In fact, the way that they start learning their words is by the tone that they mimic, that you make. And so when they start making tonal sounds with their voice, they start trying to make the same tone you made, even though they don't really understand how they did it. So tone teaches calmness, even when a child is very small. So we've talked about modeling breathing and about making sure that the children understand what calmness is, because that's important. In fact, many times Clara's parents would have practice sessions with her where they would practice what is a calm voice, what is not a calm voice, what is a calm face, what is not a calm face, what is a calm body, what is not a calm body. And then they would role play different scenarios and see if she could practice being calm during those times. Every one of the 4 basic skills of self-government includes the step keeping a calm face, voice, and body. These children's books each teach one of the 4 basic skills of self-government, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. If a child learns the steps to all 4 of these 4 basic skills, that takes care of 99% of their behavioral problems. And it really, truly does work. When the child is in their toddler years and they can understand a little bit more about their self-regulation and they can maybe walk by themselves, then you might be ready to use what we call a calm down spot. A calm down spot is a place that triggers them that it's time to choose to be calm. So Clara learned the words to a correction as well as the words to praising, pre-teaching, and the 4 basic skills. And she also learned that she needed to have a calm down spot if she was going completely out of instructional control, which meant that she was out of control with her emotions possibly, or that she was unwilling to follow any instruction from her parents. They prepared her ahead of time by practicing what she would do in the calm down spot and by teaching her that as soon as she got calm, she could get out of the calm down spot because that was the only reason for her to go to that calm down spot. Now, there are other videos on this channel that relate to the calm down spot and also show little Clara when she was a baby learning how to breathe calmly, to take the deep breaths, and learning how to accept no answers and self-regulate herself. So go and look for some of those videos so that you can see what it actually looked like for Clara to learn self-government as a baby and a toddler. Just so you know, it's possible. There are so many parents who are teaching their children self-government when they're very young. And you know what? The side benefit is the parents are learning self-government too. Even if they didn't fully learn the skills when they were young themselves, they can master them being older and make themselves way better parents. So we've talked quite a bit about the calm down spot, but I would like to show you the magic of that so that you can see how it would work in your house. So there's a video called The Magic of the Calm Down Spot and How to Introduce It. Watch that video next.